Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I wish I knew the words.
But they're not saying anything yet.
No, I know.
Well, it's not Super Bowl Sunday, it's Billions Sunday, everybody. Let's go. Welcome on into the AFTERBUZZ TV After Show for Billions, Season 1, Episode 4, entitled The Short Squeeze. I'm your lead host, Frank Maiorana. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Let's Go Frank M. I am joined by an awesome panel who sacrificed the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl for us all to be here tonight to bring you this podcast so our listeners can hear us at any time starting 1 hour from now. I'm joined first by John Blake Zimmerman.
Yes, you guys can follow me at Hey John Blake.
And she is still accepting applications for this year's Valentine. It's Andrea Fasano.
Wow, thank you so much for that introduction. I love you for that. Hey everyone, Andrea Fasano here. You can follow me at Andy Fasano on all social media. So unprompted, I don't know why that was necessary, but all good. At Andy Fasano if you want to take him up on that.
She's taking applications. And then finally, of course, she's taken, so you can't apply to be her Valentine. It's Alina Vission.
Hey, what's up, guys? You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Alina Vission.
Cool. Well, we've got a great episode again this week to discuss. As Andrea's staring daggers at me, I promise that we've got a lot of fun things to discuss about. So, number one, I want to talk about our social media shoutouts. We like to start our show off every week with getting feedback from you guys and reading it off on the air. You can use the hashtag ABTVBillions on Twitter, on Instagram, directly on our YouTube After Show page, and we'll go through your comments every week at the start of the show, and then we highlight what we thought was most valuable. So, JB, you had the YouTube section of the social media this week. Why don't you start us off?
A lot of good stuff on YouTube. Obviously, if you guys are watching us there, please join in the conversation. Frederick Mwangi, apologies, Freddie, if I butcher your name there, but he had a great comment about, it's a very complicated show. There's a lot of finance talk. Yeah. It gets very intense. He was saying that, for such smart people, they aren't really covering their tracks as well as one would expect.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
But he follows that up, by clarifying and saying, they're not really used to doing that, even though they are very smart. And that's sort of how they've been used to operating their business as usual. They're not used to people sort of always on their tracks. Obviously, Axelrod has a big target on his back. Yeah. But most of these finance guys are just kind of doing their job. You don't expect that someone is going to be sneaking behind the scenes as much as that we see.
That's a good point. A good point by our listener there. We saw a lot tonight too, where Axe was kind of put on the ropes and wasn't really completely covered in his situation. He knew eventually how to get out of it and make $15 million, but he really got put into a difficult position there. Mm-hmm. Right. What did you think about that?
Yeah, tonight that whole episode was again different, which is what I love about the show. Yeah. I felt like it brought the tone down a little bit again, a little more serious. But that's what I love about it. And you get to see the inner workings of his mind and how he runs this empire, which is always awesome.
Absolutely. JB, did you see anything else on YouTube?
There's a lot of people are kind of rooting for Bobby. Yeah. There's teams being set up, allegiances. Obviously we have Bobby on one end, but he's got his team, the company counselor is obviously on his side, which is very interesting because her husband is obviously the team leader on the other side, with his family, his dad. So it's a very interesting setup so to speak. I mean, especially for Super Bowl Sunday, kind of as it gets closer to
Nice, JV.
full circle there.
Yeah, you did.
But no, it's cool. I mean, we are getting very close to a big conflict. I think that both sides are kind of inching towards it. I mean, very interesting ending to this episode, so we'll see what the implications are.
Real quick, let's go around. Who is Team Bobby and who is Team Rhodes? First, who's Team Bobby?
Oh, right here.
Three of you. Okay. All three of you. So I'm Team Rhodes. I'm the only one who's Team Rhodes in this entire panel. So
I'm kind of
Right, I was gonna say
a little
both,
bit.
but this episode solidified a little more
Right.
Bobby for me.
Right. But I mean, I feel like it's not because of Rhodes. It's more because his dad
Nothing
is
to do
the
with
worst.
Yeah.
Like,
throws a
I'm
wrench in it
so
all the time.
anti Chuck Rhodes' dad that I can't even be on that team. I can't I can't play with them.
Right.
Not at all.
It's like the bad coach.
Exactly. Just, I'm going back.
yeah, and we'll get into the daddy issues at some point tonight I want to talk about. But Alina, what'd you see out on Twitter?
All right, on Twitter, we got from Fred. He's back on the Twitter over here. Fred Mwangi.
Yep.
Yeah. He says the more people Rhodes takes down on the way to Bobby, the more enemies he creates. They will rally behind Bobby to get revenge.
Ooh, okay.
Good point.
Good point. We saw the opposite of it actually this week with Decker being in the office and really giving no information about Bobby that would be damaging.
Right, not what Rhodes was looking for.
No.
Right, exactly. It was more of like a praise session more than anything else.
Right.
Yeah. What else did you see?
We also got from Denise, who is at NVGhost005. She says, damn, they just kicked that CEO to the curb in 2.2 seconds. Like, girl, yes, they did. Like, real quick. He went in there, and he is now, head honcho over it. What is it? Not Sweetums.
Yum Time.
Yum Time,
Sweetums is, another show. Whole other
baked
show.
goods going around.
Exactly.
So that's reaction to last week's boardroom scene where
Right.
Bobby came in. Absolutely right. It was one of our favorite scenes during the episode. I know.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, cool. Well, a lot of good feedback out there, guys. Keep using that hashtag ABTV Billions, and we'll go through it every week. But let's start with the episode, break it down. And the top of the show, Mick walks out into his front yard and starts Tommy gunning some deer.
The worst.
Yeah, I don't know how he has like an automatic
That's exactly
gun.
what
by
I
the
thought.
way, like
How do you
all right.
have this?
I mean, I guess they
Yeah.
have everything at that
Right.
level. It's like, well,
Like,
Money
why
can't
shoot
buy it.
deers? Like, honestly, that got to me. I was like, okay, I can get it if you're hunting to eat the deer or whatever, but you're just like
For
trying
sport.
to murder innocent deer.
Great point about the automatic weapon, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have that
No.
anywhere here.
and
should've
he
been arrested
still
just
he
for
misses.
that. Yeah.
Like he doesn't even hit them.
You're shooting so many bullets and you don't even hit them.
No,
Like,
he was
not
wasted.
one. Yeah.
He was wasted, but it bookends at the end of the episode, which leads to Bobby sees Mick chewing on a granola bar, and somehow it drives him to tell Wags to sell off the entire company.
Yeah.
I want to get each of your reactions to Mick's influence on the episode and how you felt about the end, where it seems like Bobby's going to sell off his whole position. JB, why don't you say?
I loved it. I mean, the fact that he just cold leaves and doesn't look back, doesn't even answer. Like, Wags asks him, like, are you out? Like, people are going to think that. And he just doesn't respond. Like, that is such a baller move in my mind. Mm-hmm. And I think, he talked a lot about knowing everything and how you play people and how much information, like, you have to be selective about who you bring in, like, what you even say. I mean, we saw that right before they got on the plane. He was just having a business conversation, and then his friend listened in, and it escalated for him, and he almost lost everything. And I mean, he eventually got what he deserved for doing that.
Exactly.
But it's very interesting that he has to think so much more about his business moves. It's beyond that. It's like they were saying. I mean, when he was breaking down like what it's like to be a billionaire, like meetings happen around you. Like
that was
you are,
really cool.
you're not just a person. You're like this entity.
Yeah.
You're like an idea that like people gravitate towards. So it's such a different way of life than I think that we can even imagine.
Yeah. Andrea, what'd you think?
It got me from the beginning. I even made a note here about Mick. I thought it was pretty funny because, like we said, these shows, we love how they bookend, that open the show and it closes the show and it makes sense or brings it back around or, you know. But he said to him, Bobby, when he was listening to Mick talking, and he agreed with him saying, you know, Mick was talking about the deer, all they do is move, eat shit. And so Bobby's looking at him and he says, do you understand this? And he goes, more than you know. Right there, I took it as him looking at Mick as like, you're the dumb animal that's around me all the time, and I wonder how we share the same air kind of deal. And I think the end solidified that for me with him chewing the granola bar, and he's watching his dumb animal that he could have shot in his own office.
Right.
And I thought that was a nod to the beginning, but like I said, it solidified it for me at the end, because these are the people who work with him, and although he is very specific and selective as to who he surrounds himself with, he's still the brains, he's still the mastermind, and he's still smarter eons above all these
Well, no,
people.
I absolutely agree. I think or for me at least, the beginning when he was in the car, he was thinking that he was on the same side, like they were both people. And then at the end, he sort of realized that he isn't. Like, they aren't the same. He, like everybody else around him, they are deer. So they're not people. So that was sort of like a change that I saw for Axe over the course of the episode.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Alina?
I agree actually with Andrea here. Especially
No.
18 right
Gosh,
here.
they said it at the same time.
What have we done?
It's this side all the way.
Exactly. No, but I mean, I agree with her. I as far as that last ending scene, to me, I think he's selling off things because he knows something's coming. Hal told him that they got Decker. He knows Decker's going to be spilling enough to possibly get him in trouble. He doesn't know what. He doesn't know, if he's going to spill the whole beans. So he's smart. He said, when something doesn't feel right,
I'm out.
I'm out.
away,
I walk away. And that's exactly what he's doing.
That's true too.
Yeah.
He foreshadowed that.
Yeah.
You guys have great insight right off the top. There's so much value. I hope you guys are enjoying listening so far. Listen, part of the reason we can bring these shows to you is because, you engage with us, you review us online, but also so that you can support our sponsors. And our sponsor this week is Blue Apron. First of all, Blue Apron delivers food to your home, and then you cook it there, and it's really, really good meals. So
they deliver the ingredients, right?
They deliver the ingredients.
That's the best idea
everything
ever.
you need.
It really is.
You need to know how to cook, but not only do you feel like you know your way around a kitchen, but cooking at home means eating healthier and
Tuning into the online broadcast
instead of
network.
ordering expensive takeout again.
Hey.
We're going to have the AfterBuzz thing in there real quick.
Totally.
But where do you start? Blue Apron has you covered. For less than $10 per meal, Blue Apron delivers all the fresh ingredients you need to create home-cooked meals. Just follow the easy step-by-step instructions.
Yeah, and you guys, each meal can be prepared in 40 minutes or less, which I think is a really big deal
That's
for
great.
this.
Yeah. Sometimes
No overwhelming trips to the store, and no more sad takeout.
I do that
No
all the
matter
time,
your
yeah.
dietary preferences, Blue Apron makes it a breeze to discover and prepare dishes like chicken and sage biscuit pot pie.
Yum.
What? And shrimp and pineapple fried rice, which I always want to order, but to know how to do that at home. Delicious.
Right.
Cook with the ingredients that you've never used before, like watermelon radishes, farro, and purple potatoes, which are yummy. And recipes are between 500 and 700 calories, which you kind of can't beat per portion. So
That's great.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's delicious and good for you.
Yeah.
Nice.
So right now, you can get your first 2 meals for free at blueapron.com/podcast. That's blueapron.com/podcast. Blue Apron, a better way to cook. And we saw a lot of good food on display during tonight's episode too. At the same time, Bobby didn't really take part in it.
Some cheese sticks. I saw.
We saw some cheese sticks, and we saw
That's
some
right.
It
food
was Super Bowl food.
in Chuck's office, and he was refusing to allow Decker to eat because the attorney was hungry. I thought that was really funny.
Oh yeah.
You're hungry, he's not. Just wait a second right there. But let's talk about Decker, because he was somebody who we've known about for a couple episodes now, and he ultimately didn't give any information, but I thought the way that he took us through Axe's day and his mindset was really interesting. What did you gain from that?
It was just really cool how it all works. Like, it's such
Yeah.
a seamless
Right.
machine. Like, it was almost how I would dream it would be. You know, how he operates at a level that's beyond like sort of our understanding of what like day-to-day business should be, or normal like human-to-human roles are. Like he is a king, like they were talking about. So it's really interesting how all of that sophistication is happening. They know that there is insider trading. It's blatant in some ways, but they are smart enough to make it or deliver it in a way where it can't be traced.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and like he was saying during the scenes, it's just information that comes in. So far. What do you think, Andrea?
I agree with JB. I liked, it's something I was waiting for.
Yeah.
For us to be taken through his day. And again, it's all him. It's all Axe all the time. It's all about what's in his brain. It's definitely something I was waiting for to pop up in one of these episodes. I'm glad it was now and didn't wait too much longer to present that to us. And it's all in his head. Like, that's just insane to keep that kind of flow, like you were saying, but just control. He even said he controls everything. It's decisions he makes that makes it all work. And to kind of hide it and have all of these people under you and know how you work and fulfill that is really crazy.
Agree, Alina?
Oh, totally. Of course. I love the way that they laid it out. I like that it came from somebody else explaining it rather than us kind of trying to pick and see, through an episode.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, and it just shows like how focused you have to be Bobby Axelrod, and you can't let one thing slip. And I think that's where like his meditation comes in. You see him meditating. You have to, because like the guy said, it's like your mind will blow up if you're not focused. So I just love the way they laid it out. I think it was a great job.
Yeah, and I agree with both of you in that we get to see how subtle, like you were saying before, JB, the plays come, the direction from Axe down to Decker was mostly from information that would come their way, and then a mysterious phone call from Dollar Bill Stern. By the way, we are going to have... Tentatively, we are going to have Dollar Bill Stern on the podcast next week. So you guys can look forward to having him in here. So that's really cool. I'm excited about it too. Meanwhile, we've got Bobby going to a Metallica concert while he's trying to deal with this short squeeze situation. I saw a really cool article online on loudwire.com. This was by Chad Childers about Metallica making a guest appearance on Showtimes Billions, and I thought this one portion was really, really cool. They have a quote here from who is this? From one of the crew members on the show says that the band couldn't have been more generous with their time. They have a warm-up room where they practice and lock in together as a band before they play. They allowed to have access to that, so it seems like he's in the inner circle, and by extension, the Billions crew was in there. That scene was shot maybe 40 minutes before they went on stage.
Wow, that's cool.
For their
That's really
own
cool.
concert. So I thought that was so cool, but it made you feel like he was this billionaire that's on the inside, right?
For sure. And I liked how he was talking to him, kind of like, we're saying that Axe runs this huge empire and has it together, but he's like, dude, how do you keep it together? And the guy's like, I just play.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like,
cool
how
that.
could he, that's Axe plays. Like, this is his everyday life. So, he does what he has to do also. Yeah. It's just two totally different worlds. So, Well,
no, exactly. And I love the subtlety of the talent that Axe has. They really made clear this episode. I mean, it's easy to think when you have money, you can make money. And a lot of times it is. But it's deeper than that when you're at his level, because there's so much going on. And I think the real talent is like sort of like anyone can play an instrument or learn to, but not everybody can be Metallica. Right. Sort of the same situation with Axe, where everybody can hear information, but not everybody can use it in the right way. And he's literally at like a presidential level where he's getting every bit of knowledge that is out there in the world, but only he can put it together in like the right puzzle pieces to make a profit.
Yeah, nice point,
Yeah,
JB.
that was a good point.
Very well done.
Bravo.
That was good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, it's
I'll be here all week.
Or for the next 20 minutes.
JB shut that point down right there. But I like that a lot, what you just said. And also, we got to see Maggie this week, just a little bit, though. I missed her a little bit.
Yeah.
But while I'm on the news and sort of gossip section of the show, there was another great article in The Wrap that quotes Maggie as saying, "What I really like about the character is that she loves swimming with the sharks, the competitive waters. I think she loves how brilliant and sharp and animistic these people are. So I think it's this inside-outside perspective to the character that makes her so enjoyable." So just another value piece there for the listeners out about Maggie Siff, our personal favorite.
We love
here.
her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
To that point and to her presence in this episode, I really again enjoyed the relationship between her and Rhodes. And I thought, for him to come back in that room and be honest, obviously she's a therapist, so, he's learned and he kind of knows how to, if his defenses go up, he knows how to say, hey, that's my bad. But who says that? Like, who even takes a moment? But I think that's what makes a healthy relationship, and that's what the two of them do for each other.
That's very true.
And she just listens and kind of also goes, yes, dear, but also look at it this way, and I'm always on your side, but just playing devil's advocate sometimes for him, which I think is really important.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they do have
like
a
seeing
great relationship. I think both couples.
Oh my gosh.
I love
Let's talk about that
the
next.
fact that Bobby did not cheat.
100%.
With Elise.
Yes. I was like, oh, this is just going to be so cliche. If he cheats on her, another billionaire, blah, blah, playboy.
Rocker chick.
And he didn't. And I was so happy about that.
And she looked like Lara.
Yeah, she did.
I thought that was
She kind of resembled her. A
interesting.
little bit.
In a way.
little bit. Yeah. So I was happy about that.
You stole the words out of my mouth for the next topic, but I loved it. No, I love that you went there because it's exactly how you said. You have two powerful, strong marriages at the core of the show with constant temptation coming Bobby's way. And for Chuck and Wendy, they have their own separate lives which they can't really communicate about, so there's a challenge there. There's a lot of temptation, pressures going on both couples, and yet they both remain strong and faithful to each other for things that could bring them down otherwise. I really liked the point that you just made about him, and I think it's at the core of what makes this show so interesting. Is that yes, when Elise shows up, and we all know it from the first frame that she comes on, that she's going to make an offer to him. But you girls didn't quite like her singing all that much.
We just didn't get that.
We weren't.
I think
she
was just kind of serenading
I thought the
him.
song
It
was
was
kind
a
of
bit
odd.
much. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a bit over the
A
top.
bit over the I mean, when she makes the
She
offer on the
came on
couch, she starts
strong.
unbuttoning her shirt as she was sitting there. I'm like, is that?
It was just,
I mean, forward.
It was but it was funny. You know what I did like about that? How she kind of retracted and she got embarrassed that she didn't feel. I was kind of like, oh, I thought she knew he was married. And
I feel like he is wearing the wedding ring, so I don't know why she
Girls,
didn't
look,
that.
I mean,
Just
come
hello.
on.
But again, thank you, writers. I love that they did that, and I love that they even made her human. And like, I'm this tigress. Like, I don't care that you're cheating. Oh no, I do care, and that's really great that you have a strong wife and you care about her, and you probably. What did she say? He said,
You're the lucky one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I was so glad that he just got up and walked away.
He ran away.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
He's like, I'm not even going to entertain this anymore. I'm just bouncing.
It's pretty much playing with fire. That is a bad situation.
But I like the line he said about, and you said, thank you, writers. Here's my favorite line. If there were two of me, I would do this right now. Great point.
Yeah.
True. And then he also said something, I know I'm going to blank on it right now, but when he was saying in the end, just about, like, it was kind of like about picking and choosing the moments, like, it is what it is. Like, it's not worth it for what it is, kind of deal. Like, I don't know exact words that he said,
I know what you're
but he was kind of, because they kept playing around with the words of missing chances and classic versus new change and all that stuff. And that was all about him basically hooking up with her. But he said something where he was like, the thing is, you have to know, especially if it's a one-time thing, like if it's worth it. And it kind of wasn't. So good on you.
Right.
Absolutely.
Plus, I mean, he's basically a celebrity. So
Yeah.
if it were to go down, especially like in that room at all, or even if they left together, people would talk about it.
Yeah.
It's not like
That's a great point. That's a great point.
It's-
Like,
I thought that.
people are taking pictures all the time.
Yeah.
Cell phones,
And
yeah.
especially in a place like that. Now there are certain places you can go. You go to higher end clubs,
Right.
the country club where Chuck Sr. was making a phone call. You're not supposed to have your phone on the golf course. If you've ever been to a Soho House, they don't let you take pictures in there. So
Right.
Yeah.
there's certain areas, but you're right in that would have been news right away. A girl making a play for a married
Bobby
billionaire.
Ass.
That could have been crazy, but
Yeah.
didn't come to pass. But I do want to touch on the actual short squeeze itself and that whole sequence of events. Bobby can't really enjoy the Metallica concert because he's trying to maneuver out of this potentially huge loss situation. So, Alina, were you surprised that he came to his friend's defense and covered the $210,000 margin that he needed to?
I wasn't surprised. I figured he would do that, but I knew that he would leave him there the next day because he pretty much said, like, you got to know, like, I don't stick with losers, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he was kind of insinuating it. The guy didn't pick up on it, but, obviously the viewers, I think, did.
Yeah.
And
Like-
they joked about the plane leaving without
Yeah,
him the first
exactly.
time. So I don't think
Yeah.
he was going to kind of make, not a mistake, but kind of like give the guy a second chance.
Right.
In
I mean,
both
it
ways.
just, his friendship clearly wasn't all there in the first place. It wasn't on the right and the up and up. So Bobby's
right.
like, peace.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that too. Like,
Right.
if you're not going to wake up when I'm giving you a private plane ride,
Right.
And a concert
Exactly.
Peace
with
out, dude.
Metallica.
Yeah, and
Are
it
you
wasn't the
kidding?
first time. It's like, he's really showing how bad of a friend he is.
Right.
I mean, several times.
Yeah.
He's
And you're being
slighted it.
In one
sleazy,
trip.
yeah,
Yeah.
about it. It was just, he was kind of sleazy. So
Totally.
He was sleazy,
Yeah.
but this is a sleazy game sometimes. And Bobby's dealing with people he does not want to deal with at all in terms of borrowing the shares that he needs to cover his loss and make sure that the stock turns a certain way. But he used Yum Time, if you notice, and this is a carryover from last week, so I appreciate that we are rewarded for watching the show week after week and remembering that he's on the Yum Time board and has that type of control now. I thought that was really cool. I want to touch on Tara as well.
Yes, Tara sucks.
we all said they were like,
I literally
"Tara
wrote
sucks.
that down.
The worst spy ever.
Take it. Take it, JB.
Yeah, I mean, just not a fan. Not a fan at all. From the get-go to that, like, horrible one tear moment at the end.
Discovered.
No good. I
Crocodile
mean, they made it very obvious that they
was.
want us to hate her. They, like, she is literally the worst spy known to man.
Totally. Who goes to text
Just, let
in
me
a
just look at this
bathroom?
paper
Yeah.
I thought
standing
she
in his
was gonna-
office.
right.
Like,
Right.
be a little sly about it.
So true.
Like,
Who
at least
does-
pretend
just
you're
text
doing
at your
it.
desk.
I thought the other
Yeah.
woman was gonna overhear her talking.
Right.
First of all, she came in like a badass.
That's
Yes.
Kate.
Yeah.
It's
Kate.
Kate's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Love
That's her
Kate's
Kate.
name. I love
But yeah,
it.
she needs to go
love it.
into the
Love her.
stall to text two
To
words.
text right.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Like, what?
So weird.
Just a name and a period.
She just busted in
But
there.
hopefully,
Okay.
I think. Well, I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything.
Well,
But see,
there's
it's
more
like
from her.
She-
everything,
Right.
everything that I said previously about the whole situation. She could have just gone to Rhodes because Rhodes would want to know that somebody's trying to infiltrate their camp. And sure enough, she's still there, and now he knows that it's Hall. I don't think he knows the name.
No.
But he knows that something's going down. So she should have just done it in the first place.
Yeah.
Right.
Saved her all the crocodile tear.
All the one tear.
Yeah,
I'm glad that
exactly.
was wrapped up quickly, and I
Yeah.
do want to take credit because I predicted that it would happen, that they would turn her against, Hal and the investigative team for Axe, but Hal's too smart and realizes it right away when she turns it around and texts him instead.
Yeah, I really like him. Sort of on the flip side,
You like Hal?
I'm a big fan. Like, he's so sneaky.
I'm
And
a big
he's
fan.
just very savvy and like smart
That's
and
his
like
job.
yeah.
You know, the fact that he knew that Chuck was there and that he was going to get busted if he went to talk to her.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he
Yeah.
had his eyes out.
But I like that he is really covering his bases and like the tracks and everything is very careful.
Yeah, he's very good at that job.
Smart
Yeah.
guy. Yeah.
He is, and he's not somebody who is going to make I'd say he's very experienced, so he's not going to make mistakes. And I thought he was going to when Tara goes out to walk out on the dock, that he was going to walk to her and talk to her. But like you're saying, JB, he's very prescient. A lot of these characters can anticipate moves without a rock hard piece of evidence. Bobby's able to figure out that Rhodes Sr. is making a play against him without the direct evidence of him doing so. He's just using the context clues to get it done. But it's nice, but it keeps the pace of the show moving, don't you think?
Yeah, but I think a lot of that has to do with intuition and gut feelings. And that's what they all go on, and kind of, it's like Bobby said, that he just feels it. When it's not right, but I think he applies that to every area of his life, not just stocks and trading.
Right.
And so does Hall. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add to
Nope, that summed it all up.
I mean, the A-team, you never know.
She read my thoughts,
She's got me.
Well, it seems like other than Laura, he's the only one that really is at like Axe's inner circle. Like he's at a similar level. They have like a secret burner phone that they use. So it's interesting to see that even though he might not have like the stock finance knowledge, that he is very smart, like in a similar way, but in just different subject matter.
You love Hall.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
He has all the information too, because he was able to call, what's his name? Ari, I believe, and tell him to look into the stock to figure all that out. So
he's a badass. Like he is playing.
He has
people,
all the information,
which is very cool.
Yeah, and
he knows how to play them. He knows who to call to plant the info to
Right.
get them to do their own work, kind of deal.
So final topic is what you were alluding to. Spiros calls. Spiros gets the call from Hall to say, hey, look into this trading pattern, and it's Rhodes Sr. who's making all these plays. I thought it was really interesting, the end of the episode, you have father and son battling it out between each other. And it was a power battle in a way, and Rhodes Jr. making his Papa sit out a bad loss. And it makes me think that there's going to be worse things down the road, and it's all over his side piece, as Chuck said, as Chuck so eloquently put it. So what do you think's coming from the two Rhodes characters between them? Because the dad's putting him in a bad position.
I think that's just gonna continue, because he's just on it. Like he can't let his son do his own job.
Yeah,
he still like has his foot in the job. Yeah, exactly, in his old job. And I mean, it has to do with his side piece, but I think it has to do with a whole lot more,
like his ego.
Exactly, and he just can't understand that his son's doing his job and he's doing it diligently. So he makes sure he gets Axelrod, but because he's not in the room and he doesn't know that information, he just thinks, oh, you're just sitting on this, like you're just sitting on it, you know? So I think he's just gonna keep on keeping on like that. And we're gonna see more of these father-son debacles.
Debates and power plays. You feel any different?
I feel similarly. I think that Chuck Rhodes is really trying to do this like legit,
right?
And it's really tough because his dad is not. He's breaking all the rules. I mean, he's such a flawed character that it's really spilling over like onto Chuck Rhodes' plate, and I think that it's gonna be soon where he's gonna have to cut ties. I mean, his dad is not only like cheating on his mom, but he's also breaking the law to try to get at Axe. And really going about it like the wrong sort of ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Not smart.
Yeah, not
like
smart.
he should know better too, you know?
But he doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the Wendy and Chuck conversation, though, that he can't help himself.
Great
He's going
point.
to keep doing
Right.
it, and it just, you feel bad because Chuck is so straight and narrow, and he's trying to do the right thing, and he doesn't want his dad to go to jail. And thank God Spiros didn't say, I like that, where he was like, you didn't put this in the system yet, Spiros was helping him, but he needed it for leverage too. Everyone's got their angle, but it's I think cut ties is in the future too, because I think there's just so much that Chuck Rhodes has on his plate for his dad to just be making stupid, selfish mistakes that are interrupting with his business. It's not, no one wants to deal with that. It's mixing also business with personal life. You're like your father.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this to me?
That's great. That's a great point to finish on our Rhodes topic section of the show. So let's move into our final segment, which is, as always, the predictions that we have for the future.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
And before we get into prediction, I just want to say, Andrea, if the Valentine's Day thing, I think
Oh my God, that was the funniest thing ever.
Okay, I just want to make sure you weren't. I felt bad about it the whole show. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, good. I just want to make sure. Anyone would be
555-2424. No, I'm just kidding. That was hilarious.
Good. So
and you're
I'm
just
gonna-
sad because I won't be here next week.
That's
so.
why I'm really upset because I wanted her to be my Valentine,
Right.
and it's just not going to work out. But anyway, let's move forward with predictions.
There we go. Sound effects, love it.
Alina, predictions for next week.
Wow, next week. So I think we're gonna see Bobby sell off a whole bunch of stuff, obviously, but I don't think he'll be completely out. He's not out.
Yeah.
There's no way. This is his life. This is what he does.
Yep.
This is him. He won't be completely out, but it'll be enough to make it so that Rhodes freaks out and is like, "What is going on?" Like,
Because he can't do anything.
exactly. Yeah, his hands will be kind of tied. So that's all I
That's
got.
a great prediction. I will agree with you. I don't want to jump on your prediction. I just want to add more evidence
good.
to
It's
it.
all good.
That I think it'd be a brilliant play.
Right.
You know, that you just brought up. Like, you can throw everybody off balance if you think that you're getting out of the game.
Right.
Andrea, what's your prediction?
100%. I'm with Team A or A team over here.
Okay, we'll get to the
I'm
A+
just-
team in a second.
I 100% agree with her. I think he might even kind of bow out for a while. Like he might just kind of stay low key, but he's not out. He's not 100% out anyway. So we'll see. I don't know about Chuck's side. I'm sure a new case somewhere will come along for him to focus on for a minute, and maybe more from Wendy, because especially if not that he's closing shop, Bobby, but what is her role if the company's not there? So.
Yeah. JB, you going to stick with a
Right.
Bobby prediction, or are you going to go in a different
Well, I
direction?
mean, I agree. They definitely set it up for him to be going liquid, but I think that
Ghost.
he's so diverse in his
Right.
bonds and stuff that it's gonna be impossible on a short term to get out fully.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that he might be doing that as sort of a play of cards, and just to kind of call what Rhodes is going to do. Okay. Hopefully his dad fumbles it again and he gets cut out.
Yeah. I think he's just stirring the pot.
Yeah.
To see.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Mix it up.
Those are great predictions, guys. I'm going to follow up and say that I think Wendy is going to play a much bigger role in this going forward and starting next week, because the announcement's going to go out. He's going to tell her what's going on, and they have a very intimate relationship. They, being Bobby and Wendy, have a very intimate relationship that was built upon years of being in the trenches together in the financial world. So I think ultimately she's going to have information that, if she were to tell her husband, could be very valuable, but that ultimately she's going to stay loyal to Bobby, I think. Even though last week we saw an indication where she's investing with someone who's leaving Axe Capital, I ultimately think that their bond is too strong for her to betray him. We saw it with Decker this week, and I think that'll continue with her as we move forward. So anyway, that's it. That's all for this week, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week, same time. Until then, we have been Alina Vision.
Hey, you guys, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. That's at Alina Vision.
And Andrea Fasano.
Happy Sunday, everyone. Have a great night. Andy Fasano on all social media.
Next to me is JB Zimmerman.
Yeah, you guys can follow me at Hey John Blake.
And I am Frank Maiorana. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Let's Go Frank M. Thank you so much for tuning in. Use that hashtag ABTV Billions out there. And we'll see you back next week. Go out, be blessed. We'll see you back soon.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.